From mouths so big they are almost the size of a watermelon, to nails longer than my legs, these are the 10 most famous black people with unbelievable body parts. Ayanna Williams. Ayanna Williams is an American woman who became famous for holding the world record for the longest fingernails ever grown on a single hand by a woman. Her nails had a combined length of over 180 inches, and what you might call this odd achievement earned her a place in the Guinness World Records in 2018. Right now, Ayanna ranks second in the world for the longest fingernails ever grown by anyone, regardless of gender. The only person ahead of her is Sridhar Chilal from India, whose combined nail length reached over 300 inches. Ayanna first developed an interest in growing her nails and experimenting with nail art when she was just a young girl. She was simply drawn to the beauty of really long nails, and it eventually became a passion she pursued. Over time, her interest grew stronger, and she began setting goals for herself, like growing her nails for extended periods without cutting them. Years before her world record, she once spent over 2 months growing her nails continuously and refused to trim them to see just how long they could grow. However, the one thing that brings her joy also posed a bit of a challenge. The weight and length of her nails have made everyday tasks more difficult over the years. Simple activities like washing plates or dishes have become a real struggle for her. For something as routine as putting sheets on her bed, it could take about 45 minutes because of how careful she has to be to avoid damaging her nails. And so, in 2021, after years of growing and caring for her nails, Ayanna Williams decided it was finally time to cut them.
Here we go. This is a big moment. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go right here.
On April 9th, she took this major step in New York City, and the extraordinarily long nails had to be carefully cut through using an electronic rotary power tool. As we speak, the nails are preserved and put on display at the Ripley's Museum, where people could come and see them up close. This next person may just freak you out a little. Prince Radian.
We've got bigger time to follow, and we can do it too. Well, catch a rack tomorrow night.
Prince Randian, often called by nicknames like Pillow Man, the Snake Man, the Human Torso, or the Human Caterpillar, was a remarkable performer born in British Guyana but later moved to the United States. He was born with a condition called tetra amelia syndrome, where a person is born without arms and legs. Despite this, Prince Randian became one of the most famous sideshow performers of the early 1900s, and he was just as captivating as his counterparts. For his performances, Randian would wear a custom-made one-piece wool garment that fit him like a glove, which is why they called him the Human Caterpillar, or the Snake Man, as the outfit made him resemble a caterpillar, snake, or even a potato. Randian was also really good at painting and writing, and he did so by holding a brush or stylus in his lips. He could even shave himself by putting a razor in a wooden block, and apart from how impressive it was also quite hilarious. Let's just say his performances were the kind that are impossible to believe until it is witnessed live and in full glare. One of his most impressive talents was how he rolled cigarettes only with his lips. Every item used in his performances, from his painting supplies to his cigarettes, was stored in a wooden box that he made entirely by himself, even without arms. Unfortunately, Randian passed away at the age of 63 on the evening of December 19th, 1934. The time of his death was recorded as 7 p.m. sharp, and the cause was a heart attack. What made his passing particularly hurtful was that it occurred shortly after he had finished performing what would be his final act at Sam Wagner's 14th Street Museum in New York City. Certainly, the world will never forget the Snake Man, Willie Murphy.
But guess what? I'm tough. And you want to know what happens? He picked the wrong house to break into.
You may not believe it, but this 82-year-old grandma, Willie Murphy, with unbelievable muscle power, is strong enough to beat you silly. Murphy first went viral in 2019 when she shared a video online of how she tackled a home intruder. Since then, she's been popular for sharing videos of herself working out, and people have not stopped talking about it. Murphy went into professional powerlifting about a decade ago, and she's loved it it ever since. But here's the thing about traditional powerlifting. Competitors typically perform 3 main lifts: the bench press, deadlift, and squats. However, Murphy's competition looks a little different. Instead of squats, she takes on the bench for reps. In this event, she bench presses half of her body weight, which is about 105 pounds, as many times as she can within a 2-minute time frame. Any powerlifting already knows how grueling and challenging that is, and that it's definitely not for seniors. You know, people her age are usually interested in knitting, bingo, and maybe swimming if they were ever to try sport. But Murphy is not exactly a fan of stereotypes. She has gone on to break records and set new standards in the world of powerlifting. In fact, when she first got involved in powerlifting, she learned the ropes just by watching men lift and picking up tips and techniques along the way. A lot of people find it hard to believe that Murphy has reached such an elite level in the sport entirely on her own, as she has never worked with a trainer. She currently holds national records in the bench for reps, the strict curl, and the Iron Maiden categories, and in 2014, she was honored with the prestigious title of WNPF Lifter of the Year. A fellow gym member described her as a fun person and said that people are naturally drawn to her because of her friendly and supportive attitude toward other lifters in the gym. And know that you know what she's capable of? Just make sure you don't step on Murphy's toes. Kim Goodman.
All right, watch closely. You're on.
Kim Goodman may be the first woman to stare into a person's soul because her eyes are as bizarre can be. This woman holds the world record for the farthest eyeball protrusion, and her ability was officially measured by Guinness World Records in Istanbul, Turkey on November 2, 2007. Her eyes stuck out at 0.7 inches. It wasn't until later that Kim learned she has a condition called proptosis, which is the medical term for eyeball displacement, or what we commonly think of as bulging eyes. Kim actually discovered her unusual talent for popping her eyeballs out in an unexpected way. One Halloween night, she was hit on the head with a baseball helmet, and to her surprise, her eyeballs popped out much further than they normally did. From that day forward, she realized she just had the ability and could actually pop her eyeballs out on cue whenever she wanted to. And ever since Kim discovered her amazing ability to pop her eyeballs out, she's been showing it off on TV shows and traveling the world to showcase her talent. She's had the chance to visit more than 5 different countries, amazing people everywhere she goes. Kim says there's no secret or trick behind what she does. It's just something she's able to do naturally. In fact, she admits she doesn't even know exactly how she does it. All she has to do is move her eye muscles and her eyes bulge out. One of the questions she gets asked all the time is whether it hurts when her eyeballs pop out. She always explains that it doesn't hurt at all. People also ask if her eyes get dry or if she's worried they might get stuck. While Goodman can do tricks with her eyes, Francisco does his tricks with his mouth. Francisco Domingo Joaquim. Francisco Domingo Joaquim looks perfectly normal on the outside, and you would never guess that he's got the widest mouth in the whole world that has earned him the unique nickname, the Angolan Jaw of Awe. The 20-year-old began his journey about 2 years ago when videos of his jaw-dropping mouth stunts went viral on YouTube. These clips quickly caught the attention of viewers everywhere and turned him into an internet sensation almost overnight. Despite the fact that he had gained popularity online, it wasn't until months later that scouts from the Guinness Book of Records managed to find him. They finally tracked him down in his hometown in Angola, where he lives with his family. And no matter how many times you have seen his videos, you still won't be able to get over how many things he can fit into his mouth. To prove that his talent is as real as it seems, Francisco didn't shy away from the spotlight. He once participated in a popular Italian competition called Big Mouth, where contestants literally put their jaws to the test. The participants were challenged to fit all sorts of unusual objects into their mouths. The lineup included everything from saucers and coffee cups to bottles and other odd items. While the other contestants gave impressive efforts, none of them could outdo Francisco's now famous Coke can stunt. Thanks to his rubbery mouth, Francisco not only walked away as the clear winner of the contest, but also earned the title of having the world's largest mouth, as officially recognized by the Guinness Book of Records. Unfortunately, in late 2022, however, his mother shared the sad news about his death through an audio message broadcast on social media platforms. According to the statement, the young man tragically passed away last Thursday after battling a severe lung disease after receiving medical care for 2 months in one of the hospital facilities located in the capital. Although Francisco is gone, we sure have a mouthful to say about him. Eudoxie Yao. This curvaceous lady is Eudoxie Yao from Abidjan, Ivory Coast. From an early age, she stood out for her beauty, and it would later propel her into the limelight. By the time she was a teenager, Eudoxie had begun to capture attention, and she quickly made a name for herself in her local community. And that was about the time that she began her modeling journey, and she began working with clothing stores and fashion brands in her city. These businesses saw her as the perfect choice to represent and promote their organizations, and she became a sought-after model in no time. From that point, her appeal didn't go unnoticed, and she was cast in numerous local and national advertisements. And if there's just one thing that has helped her become popular, it would be her social presence. She has been able to amass millions of followers across different platforms, where she consistently posts her unbelievable pictures. Besides the fact that Yao is a popular and well-recognized brand influencer, she never fails to grab attention whenever she shares something online. In her home country, she's usually at the center of almost every conversation and controversy. One of these controversies being that some people accused her of undergoing surgery to achieve her shape. In fact, her critics will never believe that she's all natural, no matter how much she tries to convince them. Another cause for conversations amongst her naysayers is her love life, and honestly, her love interests are quite fascinating. One of them is her fiancé, Grand P, who also has a bizarre story to tell. Grand P. Musa Sandiana Kaba, better known as Grand P, was born in Sanguinia, Nabaya, Guinea. As you can see, he doesn't look very much like a man, but he's actually a well-known Guinean musician who has managed to rise to fame despite living with progeria. Progeria is a genetic disorder that causes individuals to age faster than usual, leading to them appearing older than they actually are. In fact, they do not increase in size, height, or weight as they grow older, and you could easily mistake such an individual for a child, except they look pretty aged. Grand P, however, has defied the odds. Besides being a musician, he's also made a big name for himself as a social media influencer. In fact, he's also ventured into politics, without the fear of being intimidated for his size. However, Grand P's personal life, particularly his relationship with his equally unusual partner, Eudoxie Yao, has consistently been in the Guinean media. The pair first announced their engagement back in August 2020, which immediately made the news, but the two have been on and off since then. Many people have even accused Eudoxie of having financial motives for being with Grand P, rather than being genuinely in love with him. But to the surprise of everyone, they once again revealed plans to get married in early 2021. However, months have run into years, and there still hasn't been talk of an actual wedding from the couple. Meanwhile, what others have in decent proportions, this woman has in excess. Michael Ruffinelli. Michael Ruffinelli is an American woman who is popular because of her extraordinary body measurements, as she currently holds the title of having the widest hips in the world, as recognized by the World Record Academy. She weighs more than 420 pounds, and her hips measure about 8 feet in circumference. That's a measurement that's hard to imagine until you see it for yourself. Despite her wide hips, her waist measures a relatively modest 3 feet 4 inches, and so the contrast between her hips and waist is more pronounced. However, many of her fans find it hard to believe that Michael Ruffinelli didn't always have the record-breaking hips she's known for today. In fact, as a young woman, she was fairly average in size. In her early 20s, Meikle weighed about 180 pounds, which, while a bit above average, was far from what she would later become. Her journey into something completely different from what she imagined began at the age of 22, when she welcomed her first child, Andrew, into the world. After his birth, she noticed a big change in her body. She had gained an additional 56 pounds. As her family grew, so did her size. Meikle went on to have 3 more children, her daughters Destiny, Autumn, and Justice, and with each pregnancy, her weight and hips expanded even further. When she was closely observed, however, Meikle Raffanelli was found to consume an average of 5,000 calories daily. Although it hasn't been confirmed, medical experts are beginning to speculate whether or not it could be linked to a medical condition known as lipedema. Lipedema is a chronic disorder that results in the abnormal buildup of fat in certain areas of the body, particularly the hips, legs, and buttocks. Despite the risks of medical complications, Meikle is not so concerned. She's going to keep flaunting those hips. Sulemana Abdul Samed. Sulemana Abdul Samed is a 29-year-old man who has an incredible height that measures 7 feet and 4 inches. In his community, he is affectionately known by his nickname, Awuche. For some people, a picture with Awuche means they're only as tall as his waist because of his super long legs and towering body. His stature actually makes him one of the tallest individuals in the world, standing just about a foot shorter than Sultan Kösen, who resides in Turkey and holds the Guinness World Record title for being the tallest man alive. At first, a local hospital in northern Ghana reported that Mr. Sulemana Samed had reached an astonishing height of 9 feet and 8 inches. This news quickly caught people's attention, as such a height would have made him one of the tallest people ever recorded in history. However, it was later revealed that the rural clinic where he was measured didn't even have the proper tools to accurately determine his height. It wasn't until recently that a BBC journalist took the time to personally measure Awuche's height using a 16-foot measuring tape. Mr. Sulemana Samed, who is diagnosed with gigantism, has a condition that causes his body to never stop growing. However, it has affected his life in so many ways. Standing for too long causes his legs to ache, and sitting for too long causes his back to arch in a way that discomforts him, and it has ultimately resulted in the hunch on his back. Despite his struggles, Awuche has become a local celebrity in his village, with many people admiring his unique stature and friendly demeanor. Abdul Samed has lived a relatively normal life, attending school and being employed as a farmer and a mechanic. He has stated that he hopes to marry and have children. One of his main goals also, as soon as he saves up enough money, is to undergo plastic surgery. This decision is a result of certain health issues he has been dealing with, specifically skin complaints on one of his legs, as well as his ankle and foot. These problems are because of the excessive growth in that limb, which has caused discomfort and complications. Hopefully, Awuche gets the happiness and comfort he deserves. This next personality, however, is completely on the other side of the coin. Wildine Almoith. This is Wildine Almoith, an inspiring young woman who has earned the Guinness World Record for being the shortest woman in the world. At just 19 years old, Wildine has already made a name for herself, with petite height of only 72 centimeters tall. When Wildine was born, doctors were not so sure about her chances of survival, and they expressed serious concerns about whether she would even make it through her first 24 hours. It was during this time that she was diagnosed with a very rare form of dwarfism called Saddin dysplasia. This genetic condition has significantly impacted her mobility, making it impossible for her to walk. As a result, Wildine relies on a motorized wheelchair to get around, so she can maintain her independence to an extent and move short distances. And as a matter of fact, things only get better for Wildine. After making a splash at New York Fashion Week, Wildine Almoith earned a second Guinness World Records title. This time, she was recognized as the world's shortest professional model. And the best part about Wildine's story is that she isn't ashamed of her condition at all. In fact, she embraces it with pride. Wildine has shared that she's really proud to be the first Haitian American to hold a Guinness World Record as the shortest woman. She also uses her platform to educate others about her rare condition and raise awareness. Through her YouTube channel, she openly talks about her experiences and show others that being different isn't always so bad. Let us know in the comments which story surprised you the most, and if you think you have seen it all with these rarest black people, this next video on the 12 strangest black people in the world would surprise you more. Join the conversation.